Give yourself a break. The weather, well, it is just not cooperating. And the surprise in my iPhone Android poll.
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit Hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Hello, thank you for joining me and welcome to a Cocktail Friday. It's April 24th, 2020, day 222 of Gotta Get on Ellen. We've got another rainy, dreary day on tap. In fact, we've got another week of rainy, dreary days on tap. This is why I prefer fall over spring. This weather is killing us. You know, if we could just get outside a little bit more, soak up a little sun, it would make us feel so much better. Come on, Mother Nature, cut us a break. Now, in our area, we are supposed to be getting I don't know what they're saying is a somewhat decent day. Sun in the morning and highs around in the 60s, I think, which isn't terrible, especially if the sun's going to be out. But then the clouds are going to come rolling in the afternoon. So if you want to spend some time outside, get it in Saturday morning. It looks like it's the only time we're going to see sun for a good couple of days. I think they said maybe partly sunny on Tuesday. But the Sunday rain, Monday rain, Wednesday rain, Thursday rain, it's just nonstop. It's nonstop. So hopefully we'll see a turnaround soon when it comes to the weather because, boy, do we need some sunshine. I am happy to tell you, well, happy's not the right word. I am proud to tell you I got the grocery shopping done. Yes, I am an exceptional wife. Thank you very much. We've been going to Acme instead of ShopRite because ShopRite is insane. ShopRite is insane when it's not pandemic time. So we have been staying far away from that. The line to just even get in the store is completely crazy. And for those I've talked to, I haven't been to ShopRite since I think the first week of quarantine. I went at my regular shopping time on a Friday, and there was a line to get in that day, but only because they were waiting outside the door for it to open. And there's been a lot of changes and a lot more rules put in place since then. And I was talking to my neighbor who said she just gave in and went to ShopRite. And she said it wasn't that bad until she went to get in line to pay. And she said the line literally wrapped around the store, mostly because of the fact that they're making everybody stand in one line and then directing people into what cashier to go to. So I imagine that it moves pretty quickly. Again, I'm guessing because I haven't been there. Because when I did go to Acme yesterday, we are going to Acme because it's just not as crazy. There's just not as many people going there. And I can tell you why. $96 for 1 week of groceries for two people is why people aren't going to Acme. Oh, my gosh. And this is the other thing. Let me just get this off my chest. Excuse me. Is it just me? Are there literally like no sales going on at the grocery store right now? Usually you get a 7-8 page flyer every week telling you the sales. It's gone down to 2 pages. So I feel a little bit like they're taking advantage of the situation because I paid full price for just about everything that I bought yesterday. And then they even charged me extra stuff that I should have noticed that I didn't. Just for example, I bought some deli ham, supposed to be $6.99 a pound. When I got home, I realized it was $7.99 a pound. Just silly stuff like that. It just irks me. Just really irks me. I had to wait in line at the deli forever. And there was only one person in front of me. One person in front of me, and then the time that it took for her to get my order done was about a 15-minute ordeal. And there wasn't even a lot of people in there. But anyway, I feel like the grocery stores are really taking advantage of this time. Bath and Body Works is too. Not one soap sale have I seen since this whole thing started. And they have them pretty often. So shame on all of you. Shame on all of you. So I went to Acme. They didn't have any eggs, which kind of freaks me out a little bit because we use eggs here a lot. We usually have a lot of eggs on hand, and we have 1 dozen left. And I usually hard boil about 6 at a time for my salads for the week. So then we'll be down to 6. I don't know. Maybe somebody can grab me some eggs sometime when they're out. I don't know. There was no chicken, no toilet paper, of course. I did look this time. I haven't even been looking. But I started to go down the aisle, and I went, well, there's nothing in this aisle. So I just turned around and walked back out that aisle. That's the other thing. I saw people complaining about people not following the arrows properly. I didn't even realize there was arrows. I guess I just wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize that you were supposed to be going down the aisles in a certain way. So maybe everybody was giving me dirty looks and mad at me. I don't know. It didn't pass a lot of people in aisles, to be honest with you. There was not a lot of people in the store. However, there was a long line at the cashier because this is the other problem with Acme. There were 2 cashiers, and one of them was the express line, 10 items or less. So when I got up to the line to check out, there was somebody already in the cashier area, and then there was 2 people with pretty big baskets waiting ahead of me. And there was somebody at the express checkout, but they were about to be done, and nobody was in line for that. So I said, and then customer service was taking people with just a few things too. So I guess technically there were 3 lines open, but a woman came up behind me, and she just had a couple of things in her hands, and the woman at the customer service area was like, I can take someone. And I just pointed at her. I'm like, just go to that. You just go. So when the woman was just about checked out at the express line, I had said to the man in front of me, I said, if you guys are going to go, I'm going to go in this line. And he says, well, I have too much. And I went, well, so do I, but they're having 1 cashier open for the whole store. Then they're going to have to make accommodations. And he goes, yeah, I'm not going to go in that line. I went, okay. I'm going to go on that line. And I just was like, I dare you to tell me I have more than 10 items. I dare you. I don't know. I understand they're having some trouble with workers not showing up and being short-staffed. But, another thing about the deli is there was one woman waiting on the people. And then I saw 2 other people back there doing whatever it is they were doing. And I don't know what they were doing. I'm sure it was something important, something that needed to be done. But 2 people doing other things and 1 person waiting on people seems a little off to me. All right, I'm going to stop complaining. But, like I said, this whole ordeal was annoying, frustrating, and it cost me $96. I've never paid so much for certain items in my life. And I got to say, as much as I hate it, I miss ShopRite. I miss it. I miss you, ShopRite. I can't wait to come back. I'm going to move on to the topic of the day. I have to tell you, I was a little surprised. It was pretty neck and neck. I had wanted to hear from you what you prefer, iPhone or Android. Now, here is my little commentary when it comes to the people who have picked Android. Excuse me, they have probably never used an iPhone. I have used both. And one of the reasons that I went to the iPhone is because I had an iPad. And it just synced everything up. I stuck with Android for a number of years, mostly because they had the slide-out keyboard with the regular keyboard that you could type on, which I so preferred, and I still prefer. But even Android started eliminating that and went with a virtual keyboard. But for the main reason I stayed away from iPhone for so long is because I really just didn't want to use the virtual keyboard. Now, of course, I've had an iPhone for years, and it's like nothing. Like, okay, I'm used to the virtual keyboard. I still would prefer regular keyboard. And in those years that I hesitated to going to iPhone, and I've had an iPad since they came out. Well, we started with the iPad 2, so I guess we missed the first round. But we've had them. We got them the year we got married, which was 2011. So we've had them for a long time. And we use our iPads a lot. So it was just made sense for me to sync those two things together. That way I can look at the same thing on my phone as I can on my iPad. I think that is the one thing that the Android still is really not even comparable to is when it comes to the tablets. I know my brother will debate me on that because I know that he has a tablet from Android. And I know they have them, but I don't think they have near the capabilities of an iPad. And my brother does spend most of his time on the computer. So if it weren't for the fact that I had started this business, I wouldn't even have a computer. I mean, I had a laptop before this just basically for writing purposes, for doing resumes and writing articles and stuff like that, just so that I could have the Word program, Microsoft Word, somewhere and utilize that. Other than that, I never, ever went on my computer. And if it weren't for me doing this right now, I still really wouldn't be using a laptop. Now, I have upgraded my laptop, and I am now with Apple in that area as well. People that were continuing to try and keep me with Android would often tell me, the people at the store, that Android was a much better system, that iPhone may have come out with the technology first, but Android has perfected it. Then you have the other camp that says it's not really about the technology. I mean, it's always a little bit about the technology, but the great thing about Apple is their apps. They have really cool apps, and not all of them are available on Android. The other thing about iPhone, I think, that a lot of people kind of miss is that the majority of people have them. And I really do think that counts into the equation a lot. Because, for example, back in the 80s, when we were getting our first VCR, we had a choice between a VHS and a Betamax. Remember Betamax? We were told at the time that the Betamax was the much better machine. And it was a higher quality. It was better in technology. So we went ahead and got the Betamax. And then they became completely obsolete. So it didn't matter that they were the better machine. The most popular machine won out. And it got to the point where you couldn't even rent beta movies because nobody carried them. And they just kind of got phased out. It's great when all of your friends have an iPhone because then you can iMessage each other. You can airdrop your photos to each other. There's all kinds of things you can do iPhone to iPhone that you can't do iPhone to Android. But here are some of your responses. Once I went to the iPhone, and maybe I'm a follower. I don't know. I just prefer my iPhone 100-fold over my Android. It does take some transition time if you're going from one to the other. And somebody had mentioned that aspect. They said, Sandra said, I had an Android for 17 years and let a friend talk me into an iPhone. It's taken me a year plus to learn how to use it. If I had to do it over, I would have stayed with Android. And it's definitely an adjustment from one to the other. So she has an iPhone but votes for Android. Roxanne says iPhone, especially if you work off a Mac, it makes life so much easier. You just sync up all of your devices, right? iPhone, iPad, PC, watch. They're all Apple. Martin says Android. Linda says, I've had a BlackBerry, which I loved, several Androids, and a couple of iPhones, and hands down, I think the iPhone is best. Denise says, Android. My kids want me to get an iPhone, but I'm comfortable with the Android.